Welcome, Glass. It's time for a story. Alright, before we begin tonight, this is the official record of what happened last time you were here.
I guess Bird didn't want to stay.
Bert, that's okay. You came to Evan's apartment because something about his absence felt wrong. Not dramatic, not violent, administrative, and quiet. Emails stopped feeling like emails, notes stopped feeling like notes. Outside the building, under a street lamp, there was a cultist tied to Today is the Day. You saw them, but you did not approach them. You entered the apartment instead, and once you crossed that threshold, you never left. Everything that followed happened inside Evan's apartment, a space that felt lived in, preserved, and subtly misaligned. Furniture was placed too carefully, notes were organized like safeguards. It felt less like a home and more like someone trying to hold something in place. As you explore, you found Evan's notebooks, and they're not spell books or journals, they are containment attempts. One notebook, labeled Notebook 01, mattered more than the others. You were warned repeatedly from different sources to not turn page 93. This warning
Hmm.
came in multiple tones, and it never contradicted itself. You were never told what was on page 93, only that turning it would finalize something that was not ready. Among Evan's materials were St. Vespera intake forms. They were clinical, procedural, bureaucratic. Every form was dated 1999 for each person. They did not read like predictions, they read like records. And then at the end, Vale appeared, not as a threat, but as someone constrained by rules that you could not see. He made it clear, indirectly, that the apartment was not the destination, it was a threshold, a holding space. Session 0 did not end with combat, it did not end with escape, and it did not end with revelation. You did not leave the apartment, you did not approach the cultists, and you did not turn to page 93. You realized something else instead. You were not fully present in the story yet. You were being written in, and that process was incomplete. Tonight is happening because of that. Tonight is canon. You do not have characters yet. You do not have abilities or equipment. Every roll tonight is going to be a d20 roll just like before. You do a d20 roll by typing backslash dice space 1d20. There is no failure condition, only different outcomes. This session exists because something wasn't finished. All right. It is December. You know that because the air insists on it, not because you checked a calendar. Christmas lights hum somewhere nearby. You can hear them before you see them, but you are not together. Warlock,
Like, okay.
you are standing in a small living room. Christmas lights are strung neatly along the ceiling. They aren't blinking, they are humming. The room is tidy, not clean. It's tidy in a way someone gets when they're afraid of losing track of things. On the coffee table is a notebook. It's not Evan's, but it is the same type as Evan's. Same paper, same binding, and as you look at it, you sense the same type of wrongness as Evan's notebook. But it's closed on the table. You don't question why the notebook exists, but you question why it's here with you. Give me a d20 roll, Warlock. You recognize the handwriting immediately. You don't know where it's from. Your body reacts before your thoughts do. So on the cover of the notebook, you recognize like the labeling and the handwriting. You're not sure from where, but you definitely recognize it. The lights hum slightly louder when your attention lingers on the notebook. Something here remembers you better than you remember it. Bird, you're standing in a kitchen. It's decorated for Christmas. It smells like Christmas. It smells correct, like your childhood cinnamon, something baked, but nothing is actively being cooked. The oven isn't on. There's no like cookies on the stove or anything like that. The counters are clear. The sink is empty, and the table is set. But there are more place settings than people. The kitchen is not domestic, it is procedural. It seems like a kitchen that was made by looking at what a kitchen is supposed to be in magazines. Go ahead and give me a D20. You don't really get anything other than a sense of everything is ready. It looks ready, it's set up, and something is waiting. But that's all you really sort of sense. The kitchen isn't meant to be used. It's meant to show that care was attempted. Anoku! Anoku, you're standing in a room that should have a purpose, but it doesn't. The room is finished but undecorated. It doesn't have any holiday touches. There are no furniture that suggest use, just clean walls and neutral light. You have the strong impression this room was cleared out after something important happened. And as you look around, there is a notebook on the floor, but it's sort of like pushed up into the right angle where the floor and the walls meet. Give me a d20. So as you are sort of stood in the room, the absence within the room feels deliberate. And as this sort of dawns upon you, you also realize that the room wasn't necessarily emptied. Like a cleaning crew didn't come in and pick everything up and bring it all away. It was more so reset to a time when it was empty. Last thing you sort of glean as you are stood there is that the room isn't resisting you. It just simply refuses to explain itself. Mocha. Mocha, you are in a room with Christmas lights that are still tangled on the floor. It looks like, the ball of Christmas lights from last year that you said you were going to untangle before you put them away, but you didn't actually untangle them. They were never hung and they were never removed, just sort of paused. As you look around, you notice a table, and on that table is your notebook specifically. It's not Evan's notebook, it's not somebody else's notebook. This is the notebook that you kept when you and the rest of the group were amateur mystery solvers. It is also closed, but you recognize your handwriting and some of, the way that the paper is frayed and the little doodles on the cover. But this doesn't feel like your first time here. It feels like something was happening and was interrupted. Roll a d20 for me. You feel like something picked back up where it left off. You're feeling slightly out of sequence, almost as if you were filed incorrectly. You weren't pulled into this because something broke or there was a glitch or anything like that. You were here because something suddenly resumed. Would you like to go and pick up the notebook?
Yep.
All right, as you approach the table, you take your old notebook into your hands, and it's been a couple of years since you've used this. This was really big when you guys were like early preteens, teenagers, but you haven't seen this in over a decade at this point, and it feels heavier than it should, but not necessarily in a physical way, more so in like a procedural way. Like holding this is you being on the threshold of something. Cashew, Cashew, you are standing in a room that feels quieter than the others. The lighting here is different. There are no Christmas lights, and instead there is a menorah on a low table near a window. You can't see anything out of the window, almost like it is that two-way glass, so it's not quite mirrored, but you can't make anything out outside. It's simple. The menorah is simple, metal, and slightly tarnished. One candle is lit, not the first one, not the last one, not the middle one that is like the helper candle. Just one singular candle is lit. This doesn't feel rehearsed, it feels ongoing. Inside, the air is warm, but not insulated in the way that the rest of the space is, and you're more aware of the outside here. Sorry, I was talking to Jazz quick. Um, so you are more aware of the outside here. You don't feel remembered, you don't feel processed, but you feel observed in a way that a system watches something that it didn't expect. There's no notebook in the room, there's no paperwork, no intake forms, nothing trying to give you a name. Go ahead and roll a d20 for me. So you sort of just kind of popped into existence here. What you were doing beforehand is kind of hazy, but you get the sense that this place doesn't know how to categorize you. And in the same sort of essence, the place hasn't decided yet if that's a problem or not. As you're sort of standing here trying to figure it out, you realize something important. That the light in this room isn't decorative, it doesn't hum, it doesn't flicker, it simply burns. It wasn't there to preserve a moment, it was put there to continue one. You weren't invited, you weren't recorded, and you weren't written in. You are here because you carried something forward when others tried to hold things still. The gray doesn't know what to do with things that are meant to be renewed instead of preserved. The candle doesn't change when you watch it. It doesn't react. It doesn't need to. It will go out when it's time, not because someone tells it to. Not all light here behaves the same way. Uh, Mocha, you have this sort of ball of light in the center of your room. Warlock, you have Christmas lights that are individually strung. Bird, you have the natural light of the kitchen. Anoku, there are some lights within the room that you're in. And Cashew has her candle on the menorah. And still, none of you are necessarily in the same room yet, but the spaces are beginning to align. And you sort of sense this within yourselves more so than the like seeing or hearing or anything. It's just sort of a sense that you have of coming closer to other people. Go ahead and Warlock, what would you like to do in the room currently?
I'll unplug these lights and have a seat because that humming's starting to bother me.
All right, so as you go over, you're sort of searching along the wall, following the string of lights to its source, and you unplug it. And for just a moment, the room is plunged into darkness. And then, with the sound of a pop, oh, that was going to be really cool if I could do that like pop sound with my mouth. It did not work. But there's this pop, and all of a sudden you are back in the center of the room. The lights are back plugged in, and the scene sort of resets. Knowing that information, all of you, would anyone like to engage in a different action? Going once.
Okay, can I go check on the food?
You
Normal
can.
food.
Yep. So as you sort of open the oven and you're searching on the stove, there is no food. The table is set. There are a number of chairs there, but you cannot really pin down how many there are. You start to count one, two, three, four, and then they sort of shift a little and you lose count. You start again, one, two, three, four, five, and it kind of phases in and out. And so you can't really get a solid count of how many chairs there are. You know that there are at least three. But there is no food in the kitchen. It's just sort of the smell of food. Again, it's this kitchen is not homey in the sense that, it's your mom's kitchen back home or anything like that. This is more so like something read what a kitchen was supposed to be and recreated it.
Is there any exits from either of the kitchen or from here?
Very good question. Each of you, as you sort of look around the room, while there are windows and Bird, your room specifically is sort of subdivided. There's a kitchen section and then there's a dining section that you can cross freely between. But besides that, there is no exit. You are surrounded on all six sides by wall. There's no door. There's nothing that you could shimmy through. Even as you sort of look at the window, you get a sense that there is nothing beyond those windows. Is there anything anyone else would like to do in the rooms?
Can I plug in my lights to see if they turn on?
You want to plug in your lights?
To see if they turn on. Yeah, the tangled
So,
lights.
oh, they already are plugged in. So they're plugged in, but they're kind of just left on a heap, or sorry, in a heap on the floor.
Oh, then I want to unplug them.
Okay. Similarly to Warlock, you take this strand of lights and you kind of thread it through your hands as you get closer and closer to the wall, going to the plug. And as you pull the plug out, there is again that sense of a very quick pop, almost like your ears are popping as you're coming out of a flight, but you feel it through your whole body. And you are just mollywopped back to the center of the room. The lights remain back in a heap, they are back plugged in, and you have essentially been reset to the beginning.
Can I take the individual light bulbs out instead of trying to unplug the strand?
You could. Would you like to try that?
Sure.
Give me a D100. All right, so as you start going through it, you're making good progress. You're unplugging or you're twisting one light off, you put it to the side, you get this pile of lights going on that slowly kind of grows into this mini Lego-like mountain. And as you get about a third of the way through unscrewing these individual bulbs, you are all of a sudden popped back to the beginning, and the lights are back in their place. The little pile that you've created is gone, and you are back stood where you originally were.
Is there like any boxes in my room?
Your room specifically is almost like a prototype of a room. It is um, something that looks procedurally generated. Again, it's like asking a child to draw a room and what would they put in it. So aside from the notebook being there, no, there's really nothing in the room. You get a sense that at some point this room did have things in it, furniture. It had a purpose. There might have been a TV. It might have been a bathroom, for all you know, but there was definitely purpose to the space.
Can I look at my notebook then, or the notebook there?
You can. Would you like to open your notebook?
Can I look at the front of it first? Like, what do I see?
Yep. So as you look on this notebook, this is your notebook from again when you guys were teenagers solving these little local mysteries that you guys found or stumbled upon. Similarly to Mocha, but not to the same extent, it is a little heavier, but not in a physical way, sort of in the looking back on something you didn't realize was going to be so uh, key to your life, and kind of realizing that at this moment.
Can I look into it?
Would you like to open the notebook?
Yes.
Go ahead and give me a D100.
Damn.
Oh, close. So you decide to flip to the back of the notebook. You kind of, open it and skim through the pages. And as they're sort of flying by with, ink in the margins and you recognize your handwriting, probably about halfway through, or maybe three-quarters of the way, it starts to just be blank pages. So you guys kept these notebooks, but it was always more of like Evan's thing. So you kind of did it in a way to humor him, and you guys did find these little odd occurrences that would happen around town interesting, and you got into writing it down and keeping all of these notes. But it was definitely Evan who was more so the note keeper of things. And sort of as you start to get to these blank white pages, and this begins to happen across all of your rooms, across all of the spaces, the light changes, not all at once and not in the same way. Some lights hum, some flicker, some start to burn more steadily. You know, the string of lights are beginning to almost like pulsate as they grow brighter than, you know, they were ever actually meant to. The overhead bulbs, the tangled lights, the candle, everything is sort of beginning to pulsate in this way. And for the first time tonight, you understand something really important. The lights are not cooperating. I am not looking at Discord currently, so I cannot see these next set of rolls, but I would like everyone to roll a d20. And Anoku, if I could sheriff, or not sheriff, deputize you, and you just let me know when all of those rolls have been sent in.
Okay. Mocha.
Naturally, not that that matters.
Mocha.
Yeah. Sorry. I'm trying to like follow everything.
You and I will catch up a little later, Mocha. Are all the rolls in now?
Almost Mocha's is like, okay, yes, they're all in
Okay.
now.
Okay.
Oh, jeez.
Holy shit, you guys sucked.
I know.
So, as you, Anoku, you are looking at this notebook. Everybody else is sort of dealing with this, all of a sudden, these lights. You feel it, not as fear, but as strain. Like too many rules trying to occupy the same space at the same time, too many truths. As each of you look towards the light source of your room, the intensity begins to increase. The lights grow to this blinding white. Anoku, as you are gazing at your notebook, it takes over your vision. Your room seems to fade away until you are alone in pure whiteness, and you are as if a single period landed on the middle of a blank white page. And you're sort of this sucking, whirling sensation. Once, the world was not one thing. It was many. Separate realms, separate rules. Each one made sense on its own. And each one could be held. There were people who could do that. They were called holders, and each holder carried a singular item with them, an item of immense power. Each item enforced the laws of one singular realm, and as long as the realms stayed separate, everything held. Then something happened, and no one quite knows what caused it. What matters is this: the realms began to overlap. And as you guys are sort of in your white existences, you start to see these sort of swirling, bleeding colors as if people are dropping individual colored ink into water. And as these ink drops, you know, at first they're contained, they're singular color, they are separate, but they begin to overlap and to swirl. And you start getting this very muddied sensation, and you feel that pressure again of too many rules, too many expectations, all sort of pushing down on you at once. And then all of a sudden, these forces, you feel them swooping in. You don't necessarily see them. Your brain cannot conceptualize what these things are right now. But the holders did something that they had never done before. They did something that they weren't supposed to do. They brought their items together, and they tried to contain everything at once. And in the narrowest sense, they succeeded. The collapse stopped, reality stabilized, but the laws didn't reconcile. Not everywhere. They stacked, they contradicted, they persisted. Every rule applied, and none of them agreed. That contradiction learned how to exist. And that is what the gray is. The gray is not a void. It is not absence. It is not excess. It wants every truth to apply at the same time. It wants every boundary to exist, and then to fail. Nothing is false. Everything is true. Everything is false. Nothing is true. All at once. And that is the essence of the gray. As this primordial force, this thing that isn't supposed to be, came into existence, people, ancient people, this is far, far back, when we were still cavemen, painting on walls and afraid of the dark. After that moment, people noticed that the gray hated boundaries, and light is one of the oldest ones. Fire, candles, lamps, strings of bulbs, not causes, but defense. Ways to push the gray back, at least for a while. For a long time, the gray was weak. We're talking millennia. Through the age of the dinosaurs, through early man, all of that. And then as time passed, it found places designed to observe, to classify, to contain. St. Vespera was one of those places. Some of you were processed, filed, observed, written in. And then there's Cashew. She wasn't. And the gray found you anyways, by proximity, by continuity, by your refusal to stop moving. The holders tried to save the world, and they succeeded. But in doing so, they created something that wants to end it. As all of you are still in this white room, you kind of feel yourself being sucked back into your body as this explanation, this vision, whatever you want to call it, sort of ends for all of you simultaneously. So the explanation is gone, but that pressure isn't. The boundaries between your spaces feel thinner. Sound starts to carry, movements echo, and for the first time tonight, you feel close to each other. What was the average of your rolls?
Oh God, hold on.
Oh man, I don't know. Yeah.
8.2.
8.2. Wow, you guys sucked.
You really did.
All right. So,
It was a 1-2-2.
and you guys all sort of internalize this sensation. what could have been an extremely smooth stepping through convergence, if you will, is forced and bumpy and rocky and disorienting, and it feels like you guys are inside of an earthquake while you're underwater. And you know the worst music you've ever heard in your life are all blaring at the same time, and all of a sudden, whack! Everything sort of comes into alignment, and you step into the same space, all of you, for the first time tonight. Now, uh, Anoku, Warlock, and Bird, you guys were at the apartment. Mocha wasn't. And you all recognize Mocha. You know, he couldn't be there. You know, he had a flat tire, or he was at dinner or whatever. He was supposed to be at Evans, but he wasn't able to make it that night. So you guys immediately sort of recognize Mocha, and all of a sudden it's the four of you, and Cashew is sort of off on her own in this large room. You know, there are holiday decorations half done. Light sources don't match. There's a table in the center. There's chairs around it, and the room feels prepared, but not finished.
Prepared for who?
Well, it's a good question. How about you talkst amongst yourselves for a moment?
Okay, we'll run Evan. So Mocha's here with us, but not Cashew.
Yep.
So all of you are in the same room. Cashew is there as well, but the four of you have history together. Cashew does not. You know, you guys were all at St. Vespera's together with Evan and Jules and maybe some other people. But Cashew definitely was never at St. Vespera's.
So should I eye up Cashew and be like, where the fuck you come from?
That's a good idea.
Yeah, I'm like, who is that? Is that a person? Are you the gray?
Are you the gray Cashew?
I don't think I'm the gray.
Isn't that what the gray would say?
Sounds like something the Gray would say.
Could be. If you guys look in the Dungeons and Drag Queens chat, the sort of room is laid out for you guys. Again, the chairs, you all individually try and figure out how many chairs are in the room. And, you know, you might notice Warlock counting, and then he's going to give you a number. But, you know, you count, and then the number is super off. At one point, you know, Mocha says there's 20 chairs in the room. So you can't really get a sense of how many places are set.
Am I high?
Are you?
Why would you be hot?
I don't know, because nothing makes sense.
Why would I be gray if she's high?
Whoa.
Oh, good question. Anoku, are you the gray?
I don't think I'm the Gray.
Sounds like
All
something the
right.
gray would say.
It does sound like something the Gray would say.
That does
I'm
sound like something the gray
suspicious
would
of
say.
myself. Maybe
Can I break chairs?
Yeah. Roll me. I don't know. These are pretty old, weak chairs. Roll me a d6.
You want to break a chair? This isn't
See
even
if
our
your
house.
comes back.
You said, oh, to see if it comes back?
Okay. So, Bird, as you as you pick up this chair, you know, you get ready to like crack it over your knee, and you bring it down, and it definitely splinters and comes apart. But boy, oh boy, it it really hurt, and it was not a graceful looking affair that just occurred, and sort of everybody kind of notices that you struggled to break this wooden chair. And as the pieces kind of clatter to the ground, they phase out. They're almost kind of like absorbed into the floor, but they're fading away at the same time. And as you look back to this table, you're still unsure of how many chairs there are. What else would you like to go? Would you guys like to do?
Can I pull up to the table? Like, grab a chair and pull up?
You can. Where do you want to sit?
Oh, God. Right upper corner. Not, like, below the light.
Okay. So you go and sit, and as you have now sat down, you have this sensation, almost like remembering something, and you are told more so than remembered that there are chairs for all of you, and at least one more.
All of us, including Cashew, or all of us?
All of us, including Jules?
Cashew feels accounted for. Jules
Some extra
feels
asshole.
accounted for. The
So
extra
we have
chair,
extra.
you're not entirely sure who or what belongs in it.
Can
So
I
it's
take
still
a seat?
Yeah,
You
can we at
can. Where
least
would you
find
like
out,
to sit?
you know, how many chairs are left?
Would you guys like to do that?
Sure.
I'd like to bring the candle to the table
Excellent.
with me as I sit down. I just want to make sure that there's no whoopee cushions or traps as I sit down.
Whoopee cushions or traps? Now I'm concerned.
Yes, you should
I'm already
be.
sitting down. Everything's fine.
Is everything fine?
So Bird brings the candle over to the table and sort of puts it in the middle. And Anoku is sat in her seat. Bird sits down in a seat. And similarly, Bird, you are also struck with this half memory, half being told, almost as if by maybe your future self, maybe your past self, that there are chairs for everyone and at least one more. Is everyone
Yeah,
else sitting down, or is there anybody else who would like to do anything in the room before they sit?
Check the window for those creepy cultists.
Okay. As you go to the window, uh, whereas before Cashew's window was sort of this glass but not glass, almost like, it's not see-through. You couldn't see out of it. Mercurial almost. As you go over to it, you can see out of it, and everyone can see out of it. But what you notice is it is just a fucking blizzard out there, man. Um, you cannot see realistically 5 feet into that snowstorm. The snow is coming fast and hard.
Okay, well, I guess it's snowing. Where are we? Like, are we still in Evan's apartment? How's it snowing now?
Okay.
Than I was.
So,
Seriously.
we will not have everybody sit, but I would like everyone to roll a d20.
Do you need
All
me to
right,
tell
so
you?
Bird,
Like,
no, I looked this time. So the
okay.
other one was for something else. But Bird and Anoku, you two, you probably because you were the first to sit, feel very grounded. Everyone else all of a sudden is experiencing discomfort, headaches, vertigo, migraine, tinnitus. All of these like very, heady feelings are hitting. Warlock is kind of swaying back and forth on his feet. Mocha and Cashew are sort of like crouched, holding their head. Um, but Anoku and Bird, you guys remain clear enough to ascertain that the room exists to contain you. Just for a moment, just long enough for something else to decide what to do. As this realization hits the two of you, there's this wrongness starts to leave the others. So the headache fades, the tinnitus lessens, the nausea starts to go away, and you guys are sort of able to regain your faculties again.
You gonna fill us in, Nanoku, about what you felt?
No, I'm gonna keep it to myself. I want to go over to you guys and be like, "Are you guys okay? Do you need my assistance? I'm a nurse."
I'm gonna say out loud. Can we see the one for the one who keeps hours? Maybe this is the time.
Say that again?
I'm asking for the one who keeps the hours.
One more time?
I'm asking for the one who keeps the hours.
The room rejects this. It shudders and shakes. It is the similar feeling of when your six individual spaces all kind of coalesced into one area, but 10 times more intense. The thing that you are asking for is not only not available here, it is the antithesis of this place.
What is this place?
After this wrongness washes over all of you, since Bird asked out loud, the room itself nearly almost punishing, like a petulant child for asking something that isn't something that they should be asking for. You settle and you start to look more at the table at the center of the room. And those of you who aren't sitting start to realize that it feels more and more important, not symbolic, but procedural. And whatever happens next will happen there.
Repeat
I guess
that.
there's no beating around the bush.
Take a seat.
Can you repeat that one more time?
Whatever happens next will happen there.
Can I scooch a little bit closer to Warlock because I'm a little freaked out?
You can.
Thank you.
Warlock, would you like to allow this or would you like to scooch away?
She's fine.
Okay. Consent is important.
But before that, when I mentioned it, he was like, "Bitch."
All right, with all of you now sitting, the room begins to settle. Again, the room is not necessarily sentient, but it definitely reacts to the things that you guys do, the way that you're acting. And it's really been waiting for you to take a seat at this table for whatever purpose, whether it be benign or nefarious, is going to happen next. But now that you're there, the room sort of settles, not comfortably, but intentionally. And you all kind of notice a heavier weight as you're sitting at the table, but not in a physical sense, more so in a conceptual sense. You guys are putting a lot of mental work into what is going on right now. Your brains are probably nearly scrambled, if not already a little, cooked. The lights around the room and the table at the center, or sorry, the candle at the center of the table, all begin to brighten softly, almost happily, not in unison, but just sort of willy-nilly here and there. There's no kind of rhyme or reason to it. Like a couple of bulbs on a string of light will brighten, but not necessarily the whole string all at once. As this kind of laser light show is going on through the room, all of a sudden, a length of tangled holiday lights appears on the table.
Is that the same holiday lights from my room?
It's not. This is distinctly different. It is either the bulbs are different in that you might have had colored lights in your room and these are, a plain white, or it might have been a black string and this is a dark green string. It's definitely different.
Are they on?
They are not on, nor are they plugged into anything.
Someone want to plug it in?
I'll plug them in.
As Mocha reaches for these lights to kind of pull them over to himself, in their place, with a little pop, a bound notebook that is closed is in the center of the table.
Holy Necronomicon.
How many of us have notebooks now?
All of you have. I
We
should
need to start
explain.
comparing notes. We got time. We're stuck in the room. The blizzard's
We got
raging.
there.
Let's get to it.
You should all compare notes regularly throughout this campaign. Now is not necessarily the time and place to compare notes, but I will say every one of you has a notebook except Cashew, and all of you have these notebooks due to this shared experience with Evan when you were younger. And so this has been locked and loaded since I was sending notebook entries, and I was waiting for somebody to say we need to compare notes. So as and Cashew, unfortunately, you're kind of on the outs here, but as the four of you begin to sort of like shuffle through and compare notes and go back and forth with each other, your shared history is kind of revealed. And what you guys remember is that all of you, met Evan at St. Vespera. And this is including Jules as well, even though she's not currently here. But all of you remember this asylum that you all went to. None of you remember why you were there, You know, it doesn't seem normal that all of your parents would put you into this asylum, especially sort of in the
Like,
early 90s, or sorry, the late 90s.
voluntary or involuntary?
You don't know me.
Again, you are not entirely sure the level of voluntariness was done for you. It might have been um, you know, your parents forcing you there. It could have been a school thing. It could have even been that you were trying to work there as an intern. But somehow all of you met in your early teens at St. Vespera's. Um, and
Am I allowed to like
as
look over someone's shoulder at their notes, at their notebook?
good plan. As whose shoulder would you like to look over, actually?
Let's go for Anoku. Let's take a peek.
Okay. So Cashew sort of like hops her chair over to Anoku, and like the warlock Anoku and Cashew are all sort of like huddled together over these two notebooks now. Um, and so as you're looking through, you're looking at these old, like almost case files from like the X-Files. So there was the Echo Tree, there was the blue flashlight, there was the shed that wasn't there, sort of all of these odd titles. And as you start remembering this more and more, you get this sense of all of the strangeness and the reason for the notebooks and the investigations and everything started from Saint Vespera. Something weird was going on there that Evan stumbled across, and he had started writing these notebooks far before any of you. You guys sort of picked up writing these notebooks as a habit, and to sort of show unity with Evan as he's going through and writing these down. And finally, almost in a crashing way, what you guys have realized is that because you moved away from Saint Vespera's, your memories of this place and the weirdness started to fade. And now that you are kind of smacked in the face with this, you realize, oh shit, Evan was definitely onto something here. Like this is real shit. We're not going crazy, we're not having a hallucination, we're not drugged. All of this is now making sense back to you as like children.
This is like
Oh,
it,
damn.
where we all forget shit, and now that we're all together, we all remember shit again.
And I'm still just in the dark, essentially.
Um, you are in the dark, but you are in the dark less than you were before. You sort of have this weird, um, almost like women's intuition feeling of whatever is going on here. You are meant to be a part of, but you kind of showed up way late to the party.
Always late, but worth the wait.
Anything else? All right, so as this sort of shuffle of note exchanging and gasping and oh my goodness and the realizations and the epiphanies sort of hit all of you, the current score is Mocha is sat with a length of tangled holiday lights, sort of not necessarily on him, but you know, on in his space that he has kind of claimed this. And then there's a bound, closed notebook in the center of the table.
We try
Can
to
I
open the
reach
note.
and try and open up the notebook?
You're reaching for the notebook, Bird.
Yeah.
All right, as Bird reaches and his fingertips touch the notebook, what you immediately notice is this is not a notebook in the sense that it is a working item that you can take notes in. This is like somebody has seen a picture of a notebook and made one. Like they 3D printed a picture of a notebook. You can't open it, there are no pages. It's just sort of this bound, solid tome. And as you pull it over towards yourself, a small, unfamiliar necklace that feels out of place, even by today's or this place's standards, kind of pops into existence.
Can I try to grab the necklace?
Bird, as you attempt to reach and grab the necklace, you find yourself unable to reach it. So you're leaning forward and nothing else is moving, but the necklace is always out of your grasp. And people at the table, the way that you are seeing this is sort of Bird's arm almost frozen in the air, just, away from the necklace. And he's kind of grabbing at it and reaching towards it, but almost as if he is physically being held back by something, cannot get purchase on this necklace.
What's going on with this necklace? I can't get it.
It's so far away.
Fuck. No, really. Grab that shit.
Who are you telling to grab it?
Onoku. Or cashew.
I can try.
Who would like to go for it?
Do it, Inoku. I believe in you. You're a nurse.
Oh my god.
I'll do it.
I guess I'll. Okay. There you go.
Okay. So Cashew, as you kind of are watching Bird struggling to reach this thing, you finding this very odd and wondering what the fuck is wrong with him. You reach out and you grab the necklace, no problem. Your arm fully goes out. You're able to grasp the chain as you pull it over to you. There's a kind of a soft thud as a stack of intake forms that are unstamped all kind of land on the table at the same time, but the individual papers make this sort of rustling sound as they are poofed into existence.
I would like to read one of the intake forms.
As you reach for the intake form to peruse it, if you will, a similar interaction as Bird with the necklace happens, and you are just unable to get that form. No matter how far you stretch forward on the table, you are like stood up on your tiptoes reaching for it at this point, and it just remains out of your grasp. You can make out lettering on the top. It is definitely a Saint Vespera's intake form.
I think Cashew should read the intake form because she could grab the necklace.
Can I read it?
Cashew, as you reach for the intake form, having seen Mocha struggle to reach it, you are now hit by this very familiar sense of not being able to reach the forms. No matter how hard you kind of stretch or try or climb on the table, they are just always just slightly out of arm's reach.
Bitch.
Can I try to grab the form?
Who was that, Bird? If it was bird, yes, you can absolutely try. Similarly, you are now also unable to reach the form, so you kind of have Mocha, Cashew, and Bird all sort of reaching for these forms at the table that none of them are able to actually get purchase on. And Warlock and
Okay.
Anoku, go ahead.
Can I reach for the candle and try to set one of these forms on fire?
You can. So as you pick up, or actually, I suppose, tell me your actions in this, and I'll let you know what happens.
I'm just reaching for the candle and um trying to improve my vision because it's fairly dim in this room and the lights keep going up and down and just I got some old eyes trying to get some consistency.
Are you
And I
trying to
notice
burn the papers, or do you really don't think that you can see? What do you know that's on the papers?
yeah, I don't. So maybe I just knock the candle.
You're knocking the candle, like knocking it over onto the stack of papers.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. So the candle topples over, and it doesn't necessarily move correctly. So it kind of wiggles and wobbles and then kind of lands on the table, almost in slow motion. And the flame is touching the forms, but the forms are not lighting on fire. Um, you get the sense that if this were in Evan's apartment and this had happened with these exact same objects, the forms would have lit. So it's not necessarily an inherent fact that the forms can't burn or that the candle is weird. It's more so that this space is not correct.
And the candle has righted itself.
Nope, the candle has not righted itself. It is still on its side, with
Okay,
the flame
I'll
burning.
correct that. Oops, I was clumsy. Fix
Okay.
the candle.
All right, the candle is now stood up with the forms in the center of the table still.
Rather than reaching for it, I move myself closer to them to see if I can read what's on the forms.
You can read what's on the forms. They are Saint Vespera forms. They are similar to the intake forms that you all took, where it's just circles of 1 to 5. There's nothing inherently important about these forms, except for the fact that
Any
they are
names?
not stamped.
Not
They
stamped. Any names?
they are not stamped, and there are no names that you recognize.
So these are
They're sort of
useless.
they are useless in the sense of you're not going to get any personal information from them.
Now that I'm closer, disregard.
Okay.
And you said how many of these were there?
I didn't. They're just a stack of forms. Let's say 20 or 30.
Can I sort them in a grid? Like make them all side by side and look for consistencies or inconsistencies in them, in their answers?
You can. Are you taking the forms from the center of the table?
Not necessarily from the center of the table, but I'm going to arrange them on the table.
Okay. So
I
as
first
you
have to
make
move the candle, but you said 30 forms, so we'll do what, 6 by 5 grid.
contact with these forms, you kind of like pick them up to begin this grid pattern of yours. A single unlit candle that is different from the candle that is providing you guys light right now kind of poofs onto the table.
Does this candle have the ability to burn that paper?
Well, did this candle appear on any of the papers specifically?
Nope. It as you were lifting the forms to kind of start, putting them out, the candle
Okay.
took the place of that stack. Uh, it might be able to light the forms on fire. You can certainly attempt that if you would like.
Is this some kind of weird heat reactive paper we could hold above the candle to see if there are hidden messages in it?
You can. Uh, what would you like to do first? Try and light this unlit candle to burn the paper, or hold up the forms to the light?
Well, I'd like to put them in the grid first. And although they're unstamped and unnamed, it might be nice to be able to identify 1 through 30. I don't know if
Okay.
there are any pens or pencils in this room, um, but somehow to identify them in case something happens and they get jumbled up again.
Okay. I will.
What color's the wax on these candles?
They're just plain white candles. What I will allow is there can be a pencil for you to number these forms 1 through 30 as you put them out on the table.
Okay, let's continue with that.
Okay. Once all of these forms, now labeled 1 through 30, just natively in the order that they were in, I'm assuming. And they are now
Yeah.
spread out on the table in front of you in this 5x6 grid of paper. What would you like to do next?
Well, I guess test 1. You said the second candle that dropped was unlit.
It is, yep.
Shall we try to light that first? Piggyback it off the one that is currently lit.
Get some more light in this bitch, but then we're gonna like summon something, and I was like, "Whoa, you're here!"
Well, I thought we were summoning something because he made Bird repeat what he was asking for 3 times. And then I'm going to take paper number 1, and I'm just going to test a corner. Like, the room knows my intention is not to burn this completely, just to see if this particular candle would cause it to burn.
Okay, so you are reaching for the unlit candle, correct?
Yes, to ignite it from the currently lit candle.
Similarly to everyone before you, you are now unable to make contact with this candle,
The one that came down.
the one that came down. So Warlock can hold the candle that was lit and here originally, but as he reaches for this candle, he's not able to make contact with it. He also is not able to reach out the candle to light this other candle. As he attempts to do that, the candle is still too far out of reach, even of this other candle.
I think only certain people can interact with certain items.
I know.
Check
Should
with
I try and
Meta-Man.
reach for the candle? Because I haven't tried to reach for anything yet.
I'd say go for it.
I'll try to reach for the candle.
Anoku, as you reach for the candle, you, with zero issue, are able to take it and hold on to it. And as you settle back into your chair, each object feels tied to a different rule. So the object of the stack of forms is a singular object. Each form is not necessarily its own rule or object. So as you are all sat there with these different objects and you sense that they are kind of tied to these different rules symbolically, each rule feels correct. None of them feel compatible. Everyone roll me a
So are we
d20.
taking these objects that these other people had that they put together?
Roll me a d20.
Oh. Bird still needs to roll. And Warlock, did you roll?
I do not see. Okay, now I see Warlock's roll. I just
I
need
see
birds.
Bird.
I fail. I'm taking my dog out to go to the bathroom real quick. Can somebody roll for me? Apparently, I can't. The dice mobile.
Here,
I'm
hold on. I
sorry.
got him. Oh, perfect. Okay, you got a 5
Maybe we should
from
have let
Warlocks.
Andrews do it because he's the DM.
No, no, that's fine. So as you are sat with this knowledge, you kind of feel this strain, and you feel this pushing, and you get the sense that the gray is pushing. You don't hear a voice, you don't see text, there's no premonition or vision or anything like that. You simply, all of a sudden, know. All of these things are meant to be here. And they're meant to
Are
be
we
here
And
at
you've
the
already
same
said that
time.
light and fire can help keep the gray away.
It's true.
So let's try to get that candle lit since you can hold the candle, Anoku. And
Yeah.
let's untangle these balls of fucking Christmas lights and get that shit plugged in and glowing and keep this room lit.
So as you guys are kind of collaborating on this and getting the items together, the room starts to react. The lights strain, the air feels thick, the hum of the various lights becomes harsh, but in a way that is delighted almost. As you guys are feeling all of this happening, what is your response?
What you're saying, the room is delighted that the gray is pressuring us?
I am saying that the room is delighted in this merging of the items. Sort of as you guys are clamoring of you're trying to light the unlit candle, Mocha is moving lights around, the forms are kind of spread out across the table. The room is really enjoying all of this, and even as the gray is pushing, the room is happy that this is occurring.
It's like we were chosen.
I think Evan is the room.
Oh.
Something's good. Yeah, I think the room is trying to tell us something.
Oh, I
each of
dig it.
these-
I dig it.
I
Each
feel
of
like
these
we need to use
objects
all
is-
of the objects.
Yeah. So each of
Is
us
this
has to
like,
find our own object.
is this like our powers combined? Captain.
That's what I was
Bennett.
thinking.
So as you begin to try and combine all of these items in a meaningful way, you start to get headaches, this pressure at the front of your skull that kind of wraps around under your earlobes and down your neck.
Do
This
I have any ibuprofen on me? Usually I
uh,
do.
you do not. You were transported here without any kind of medicine or a purse or anything.
You should not be taking ibuprofen for
Am I
a
naked?
headache. Not really.
No, you have the clothes on your back.
What about the
Um,
ibuprofen in my pocket?
if you have a pocket ibuprofen, you can take one, but you have to dry swallow it.
Oh, that's easy.
Can you handle it? All right.
All right. So, Cashew, You do not get hit with this headache, but the pain isn't there, but all of a sudden you start getting this double vision in a way of things have this kind of vapor trail behind them as they move. Warlock, you start hearing these sounds overlapping, lapping, as if things are happening simultaneously, across different iterations, shins.
He would lose his ever loving mind in real life with that.
Mocha, you begin to have these conflicting memories that are starting to surface. You very clearly remember when you were searching in your room before, going left and then right and then going forward and backwards, and you were high and low, and the ceiling is the floor is the ceiling. You're all over the place within this memory, and all of you get this sense that rules are colliding. This is what the holders did. They were right that everything needed to be contained, but they were wrong about how they did it. The Grey doesn't want these objects to fail. It wants them to succeed, but it wants them to succeed all at once, forever, until nothing makes sense anymore. As you guys are just smacked with all of this sort of mental load that you're going through, these false memories, this double vision, the overlapping sounds, um, the room starts to hit its breaking point. The lights begin to flicker out of rhythm, shadows overlap incorrectly, sounds stack instead of replacing each other. This room cannot hold itself for much longer, and you feel it. Something intervenes, not a being, a boundary reaction. The objects slide apart, not gently, as if reality itself rejected the configuration. You see a candle go whizzing past you and lodging into the wall. The forms from the stack are just blown across the room, landing every which way. The lights that were tangled up are flung across the room, and they sort of stick up onto the ceiling in a very disconcerting kind of slap of wires. Everything is thrown apart in this violent sense of wrongness. The hum drops suddenly into an unnerving silence. The Grey has learned something about you, and you have learned why it must never be allowed to finish what it started. Because it doesn't stop with rooms, it doesn't stop with rituals, and it doesn't stop with people. As you are all kind of sat here after this mentally scarring situation that just unfolded itself, something in the room fails to stay abstract. The air thickens, shadows stop agreeing on where they belong, and then, dawning on all of you at the same time, there is a shape. It's roughly human-sized, it's humanoid, but it's inconsistent in its humanoid features. There are too many eyes, there's the wrong number of limbs, there are faces all of a sudden phasing. But it's not aggressive. Not yet. It's curious. It looks like a person that the Grey is still trying to finish. This
Said, can
isn't
you
the
repeat the
gray.
last part you
Yep, it looks like a person. The gray is still trying to finish. This
Okay.
isn't the gray. This is a draft. And if you look in the Dungeons and Drag Queens chat, this is now sort of taken place uh, towards the center of the room. And now keep in mind, you guys are not able to turn into werewolves. You cannot shoot eldritch blasts. You do not have a magical poison dagger or anything like that. You are just people. About an hour and a half ago, you guys were in a buddy's apartment trying to figure out why he suddenly just dropped off the grid. And now in front of you is this weird, shifting, skeletal, ethereal, phasic mass. And it's, again, not aggressive, it's just sort of curiously looking at you.
Yeah, I'm definitely behind Warlock right now.
I'll say, you guys seeing this? I mean, I did a lot of LSD and mushrooms in my 20s. Am I having a flashback? Is this real? Tie him up with some Christmas lights, tie him to one of the chairs, interrogate him.
He's
but
not
he's got
aggressive. Don't fucking
Don't fucking touch it.
like constantly shifting arms. We don't know what to do.
As you guys start talking amongst yourselves and chattering and trying to come up with a game plan, this thing is sort of just phasing in all the wrong ways around the room. It is,
Oh no.
bending in angles that it shouldn't bend. It is every Japanese horror ghost movie trope all combined into one. It is not a stable form. You hear cracking and chittering and crackling.
Nope.
And again,
Nope.
it's not aggressive
Nope.
in any way. It's just sort of moving around the room, trying to sort of get a better look at you and see the angles.
Start showing this creature some of the items, maybe. Some of the items might be related to this person that the gray hasn't finished off.
So remember, the items are massively scattered across the room. You guys are not anywhere close to the items right now. You could certainly try and reach them.
Has this creature shown interest in anything in the room, or is it just randomly moving and not aggressive?
Oh, it's shown interest
Does it even know
in
that we're there?
something. Yes, it is very interested in you specifically, all of you. It doesn't care about the room, the chairs, the table, any of the items. It doesn't care about the snow outside. It is focused on you.
I'm gonna wave.
You're gonna wave?
Hi.
I'm gonna walk around the table, mirroring it. So there's a table between us at all times.
So as Warlock raises his hand and, makes the waving motion at this thing, uh, it mimics your movement as best it can, but again, it's phasing in all the wrong directions. Its arm is narrow and then thick and can't really decide on what shape it is, but it very weakly kind of mimics that movement, and it's staring at the hand or what it thinks is a hand as it's kind of moving back and forth. And then all of a sudden, the hand stops and the face snaps back and watches you.
The
All right, that's
base has
unsettling. Can I use the chair as a weapon or like a shield?
Yes, you absolutely can. Go ahead and pick up the chair. Are you using, like, how are you holding it?
For now, it will be in front of me, just like I can put my hands on the back of the chair, so it's not to intimidate. But if need be, I can pick it up and use it like a lion tamer, essentially, with the legs
Okay,
pointed out.
so you haven't lifted it yet. You've just kind of put it in position so that you can lift it.
Yes.
At that movement, the thing slowly shifts its gaze, but the head doesn't move necessarily right. It almost rotates on the incorrect axis and shifts so that it's more paid attention to you now than Warlock. And as you kind of adjust this chair, it mimics similar movements kind of with its hands, but it doesn't have a chair in front of it, so it's just kind of moving its hands in the air.
Like it just don't care.
Yeah, there's not necessarily a frivolity to it, but it certainly doesn't care about the hand movements on any kind of rational level.
Just mimicking us, guys.
Are both faces the same on this
Uh,
thing?
as it hears bird, it very suddenly and quickly, kind of almost in a sickened snap, shifts its full body and attention to you, and it kind of croaks, mimicking you guys. Mocha, what was the question?
Are both faces like the same or are they different?
So it's not that it doesn't have two faces. It's sort of just representative of the movement of this thing. So it has one stable face, but again, it's shifting and contorting and moving and kind of trying to test the physical boundaries of the human form.
Does anybody recognize what this thing is?
What did it just say again?
It turns to Mocha. This
My turn.
thing is
This thing is.
It's mimicking you.
it's mimicking you.
Oh,
Trying to be something
Trying to
Don't do this whole
be
game.
something
or someone.
or someone as it begins getting more comfortable with the anatomy of a humanoid. You see it kind of shifting, rolling its shoulders, cracking its spine into place. The thing is becoming more and more solid. It is learning from listening and observing and watching the movements of you guys. And as it has kind of, we'll say, solidify in the sense that slime solidifies, like it's a non-Newtonian fluid. So there's a little bit more oomph to it now, but it is by no means solid. But it takes a step towards you. And this is more menacing. Before it was curiosity, now it's a little angry.
What?
You do not have abilities. You are not
I
heroes in this moment. You are only yourselves. No spells, no class features. Roll for initiative.
Go for the jugular.
Cashew, initiative is a d20.
Even just typing. Oh my god. Times 1d20.
All right, hold on. So just for me, I see Cashew with a 15. I see myself with a 13. Then we have Bird at a 6.
Anuka was an 8.
Noku has an 8. Bird has a 6. Mocha has a 5. Warlock has a 4.
Oh no. Seems like Mocha had a 20 actually, but
Top of the round, Cashew, what would you like to do first?
Well, I guess I want to use the chair as a weapon.
All right, tell me what that is going to look like.
I guess what that would look like is that I could hold the chair like a little lion tamer and try to poke
Okay.
around and see if anything happens. But if that doesn't seem to work out, the chair would
Well,
seem to be a
let's
little bit easy to break.
pause there.
Can I use
Let's
it as
pause
like two
there.
taunts?
Okay. I will give you that up. So you can either use this sort of as a shield kind of thing, like the lion tamer, or you can crack that apart and use it as like two club kind of things. Which would you like to do?
Two clubs, please.
Okay. So this thing takes a step towards you, and you, Mama didn't raise no bitch. You snap that chair and you grab those clubs. As you kind of approach this thing, it is shocked almost that you have the gall to approach it. And as you sort of swing with those clubs, it kind of ripples in this odd way. And the part of the clubs that went through its body, as they come out the other side, are gone. And they're not like melted off, they are not corroded or anything like that. They just cease to exist. But your hand, as it passed through, kind of didn't do anything. It's almost as if the gray prototype kind of like absorbed the material of the chair back into itself.
That's
All right.
unfortunate.
So after it, takes that swing from you, it turns to Bird and Mocha. They're kind of side of the room, um, and it just kind of stands up as tall as it can. It's trying to like intimidate you through size, sort of thing. It is a grizzly bear in the woods right now. And as it's kind of rearing all the way up, it points its head towards the ceiling and it just lets loose the most absolute ear piercing, horrifying sound that you guys have heard. It's not a scream, it's not a sharp, loud sound or anything like that. It is just, the sound is pain. That is the best way that you can describe it. You are both going to take 5 points of psychic damage.
oh, me and Bird.
Yep.
Damn, Bird.
Our brain mouse.
We didn't even do anything.
And then it spins towards where Warlock and Inoku are. And as it swings down on Warlock, Anoku, you just get absolutely obliterated in the face by its foot. So it is punching towards Warlock, and all you see is its fist connecting with Warlock's face, but Warlock does not have anything happen to him, and instead you, or another version of you, perhaps, feels a kick just come square across your face. And you're gonna take 10 damage.
What the fuck?
Anoku, it's your turn.
I'm like twitching on the ground. What do you want from?
I mean, it was a good kick. It wasn't enough to incapacitate you. You're a tough cookie.
Okay, you must have not like listened to that thing you made me do. Bitch, I cry at everything.
Are you wanting to give up your turn? You can if you want to sit and cry, that's an option.
Can I grab its foot? Or try to? As like a reaction? Like, do I have like a reaction ability? Like
You do not have a
okay.
reaction ability.
Okay. Like, you know how some people get scared and they punch someone? Like, is that a pop?
So what I will say is based on your reaction on fight, flight, or flee, you are definitely, or sorry, fight, flight, or freeze, you are definitely the freeze option. So no reaction.
Is he right, Warlock? Stop it.
I popped around the corner one time to scare you, and you flung yourself ass up on the bed. You were a freezer.
Your last name is Compton. You should have a gun on you all times. Anoku.
I'm married as a Compton. I'm not actually. It's a lie. Okay, I'm just gonna cry.
All
Like
right.
the emotional shock.
As Anoku has sort of crumpled to the ground, holding her cheek, sobbing, um, the creature actually reels up for a second punch towards Anoku, and it phases through you in sort of a way where you're not even sure if that actually happened.
Hmm.
Bird, your turn.
I want to shove the table into it.
It hesitates for a moment and then corrects. And as it hesitates, the table glitches into it, out of it, through it, the maximum length of the strength that you put on the shove. And it kind of flickers back and forth, and it's in various kind of phases, and then it snaps back into a correction. And it bumps up against the creature, but it kind of shakes it off, and it looks at you curiously, and it kind of eyes you up, sort of like a cat playing with its prey. And you sense that it tries something that almost works, but you can't put a name to it. It's just sort of this feeling that you got of, oh, that was a close one. Mocha, your turn.
Hmm. It's not mimicking anymore, is it?
It is not mimicking you anymore, no.
Okay. Um. Is there anything near me that I can pick up?
There is the chair near you, and we will say the lit candle is closest to you as well.
I want to take the candle if I can and just move it towards it and see how it reacts to light and fire.
Okay. So as you grab hold of the candle that is sort of on the table near you, but not near the creature, and you slide it down the table with, the accuracy and precision of a bartender who's been working bar at a certain spot for years. It just hits the exact sweet spot, slides to a stop right in front of the creature, and it takes its attention off Bird again in that very wrong way where it's sort of like half moon swings its head down and around, and its body not necessarily moves but sort of reconfigures to face you, and it gives you a few kind of head tilts and nods and twirls, and it blinks at you, but nothing happens. The light from the candle doesn't push it away. The heat from the flame of the candle doesn't do anything. It's just stood watching you, kind of like a, well, that was fucking dumb.
Well, that was dumb. Is it moving like a puppet?
Yeah, I do. Sorry, I'll mute.
Huh? So is it moving like a puppet? Yes, in a very sort of jerky way. It's not necessarily indicative of it being puppeted by something. It's more so indicative of it doesn't really know how bones and tendons and muscles and all of these things work.
Is it trying to? Is it trying to learn what fear looks like and what our fear smells like?
So it can
It
eat
might be.
us?
So it can eat you, potentially. All of these are very good guesses. Um, there's a concept that I find interesting that I try and wrap into this of the main characters or the characters of a novel don't necessarily know the genre of the novel that they're in. So as you guys are thinking about monster movies and aliens and all of the, pop culture that you've experienced over your life, there is a very good possibility this thing is trying to learn what your fear smells like so that it can eat you. It is not outside of the realm of probability.
It's like moving like a glitched out computer program. I'm the way he's describing the way that it's moving. It it is like I recognize that. Like I recognize how that is like I can see it. I just don't know what I'm seeing it from. Like it's not actually there. It's like half in and half out.
I would
The
say that's a
technology god from Old Gods.
I would say that's a good representation of it. It is there and it is not there. Um, it is part of the gray in that it has similar characteristics.
And nothing physical has worked yet. Warlock, say something mean to it.
Are you ending your turn?
It's still my turn.
It
Um,
is.
I'm just gonna ask what do you want? What are you doing here?
It parrots back almost perfectly this time though. Like it's been progressively getting better, but this has like it's really mastered the art of the mouth and tongue and language and producing it. And it mimics the two questions back to you. Warlock, go ahead.
All right, so my thoughts are here that this is something that the Grey has almost finished off. And now it's become hostile to us. So I think it's time that we finish it off. Light and fire keeps the Grey at bay. So I am going to try to blow out this candle, but more importantly, bust these windows and let that, 100-year storm of a whiteout blizzard come into this room and hopefully disorient this creature.
Okay. Um, so as you sort of blow towards that lit candle, the flame doesn't do anything. Like it doesn't react to you blowing on it or doing anything. Like it just, it's as if it doesn't know what that is supposed to be. Um, and then how are you breaking these windows?
My elbow, chair, or I don't care.
Okay. So you step back towards the window and you just shatter that thing to pieces, and you feel the cold swoosh in and whip around, um, and then it's just gone all of a sudden. And you look back, and the window is exactly back to where it was supposed to be. What you do see is the Grey kind of uh, shivers a little bit and almost like chortles. Like it doesn't make a sound. It's not laughing out loud, but it thought that that was a very funny thing for you to do. It's never seen what it is now equating to slapstick comedy before.
Ooh.
Before anything else can happen, a sound cuts through the room. Not loud, not dramatic, precise. Everyone give me a perception roll.
See, this is where I roll big. This is where I roll huge, y'all. I'm very perceptive. Nope.
Bird,
Don't do this
you
though.
Bird, you recognize this weird sound as the sound of Vale's spurs. And suddenly, closest to you, near the window where Warlock tried to break it out, and across the table, so that the Grey is not close to where this door is appearing, a door kind of phases into the wall. It's not Christmas themed, it's not gray, it's not warm or cold, it's just elsewhere. And then all of a sudden, Vale is there. You are not meant to finish this here. This was never the place to stand your ground. The thing in the room recoils, not from fear, but from incompatibility. It doesn't like doors that don't belong to it. You all understand instinctively in this moment that if you stay, the Grey will keep refining this thing. It will get better at killing, and it will get smarter and faster. But if you run, you live.
I yelled at everybody, "Quick, do the fast run!" And then I'd crab walk out the door.
I'd already been out the door.
Yeah.
So
I'm with
Mocha and Mocha and Anoku, as soon as the door, nothing else, they saw that door and took off. Bird is not far behind them.
Well, you said the unmistakable sound of spurs. Is that our homeboy coming to help?
Yes, those spurs Bird heard. belonged to Vale, and Vale is the one who you hear that you are not meant to finish this here. This was never your place to stand your ground. That was said by Vale. He's sort of calling to you. He's not on the other side of the
Okay
door.
then. Yeah, okay. Let's well, I'm gonna grab that candle and some papers on the way out so these things can't be used together like the Grey wants. I don't want this thing learning what to do with all of the items. So flee,
Okay.
but with some of these items on my person.
Okay. The moment you cross the threshold, the air changes. Noise replaces pressure. Motion replaces weightlessness. The room behind you collapses inward, folding in and over and onto itself, almost folding into like origami slices, just, folding into itself and suddenly away. And you hear the proto-gray screaming, not in pain, but in frustration, because it wasn't finished. Warlock, as you sort of land, uh, those items are gone. They were never yours to begin with. They were constructs of the gray, um, in an attempt to see how you guys would place these things together. It thinks that you guys know the answer that it's looking for. Um, and so it sort of set that up, which is why the flame didn't react as it should, or, things were not working as they were supposed to necessarily. Whatever this place is that you've landed in, it isn't trying to contain you. And for the first time tonight, that feels like safety.